today's English lesson, you are going to learn at least 25 words that you can use in advanced English conversations or if you are studying for the IELTS or TOEFL exam. Together, we are going to watch a news report on what is happening between Israel and Iran. And just in case you haven't heard, it's not good. Iran wants to build a nuclear weapon. Israel says, no, you are not going to do that. Lots of English phrasal verbs today like taking out, streak off. Do you know what fending off means? Well, don't worry. If you don't, by the end of this English lesson, you will. You will learn a new word that was new for me, rubbleize. We've talked about rubble before, so you may know this one. So yeah, I know rubble, but I had never heard rubbleize before. Let's watch the news clip together, and then I will come back and teach some of those difficult terms. But before we do that, please go ahead and hit the like button. And if this is your first time here, go ahead and subscribe so you never miss another English lesson.
Breaking news, Israel has launched a massive series of attacks on Iran, taking out key nuclear sites and killing a number of top military leaders.
Doug Luzader is live with us for this. Doug, President Trump has a meeting about this today.
Good morning, he does. And, you know, Israel is saying that this is really just the start, and they are preparing, they say, for some very intense days ahead.
Series. They talked about this in the newscast. It means a group of related things that happen one after another. And in the picture, I have a couple Blu-rays of some famous TV series like Friends or The Office, Seinfeld, Breaking Bad. Do you have a favorite TV series you use to learn English? Please let me know in the comments. I am very curious. I knew a few years ago Friends was very popular. I'm just not so sure it's still popular. There was a series of Israeli airstrikes on Iran over several hours. So bombs being dropped from the air, but it happened several times. Now we have that English phrasal verb taking out. There are a couple different ways we use this in English, but this is the way they used it in the news report. To remove or destroy something completely. Israel focused on taking out Iran's ability to make a nuclear bomb. Nuclear, a word that I sometimes have trouble saying. Nuclear. It means related to atomic energy or weapons. So in the picture, we have what I would call a nuclear power plant. That can be very good. It can help people run the electricity in their house fairly cheaply. But nuclear could also relate to weapons. The Israeli attack targeted Iran's nuclear program.
Good morning, he does. And, you know, Israel is saying that this is really just the start, and they are preparing, they say, for some very intense days ahead. Israeli fighter jets streak off into the night, dozens of them. Hours later, the impact was becoming clear.
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced the attack last night.
Intense. This is a good adjective to know. It means very strong, powerful, or serious. The bombing was so intense that people in Tehran felt the ground shake. Yeah, I know there are quite a few subscribers from Iran that watch this channel. Just know I am worried about you. Some have told me you don't agree with the government. Please stay safe. Streak off. Good phrasal verb to know. It means a fast or sudden movement, like an attack starting quickly. It's not always an attack. Like I would say that car is streaking off, or you might hear streaking down. That car is streaking down the highway. But here is a sentence that uses streak off. The bus went streaking off so quickly, I missed it and I was late for work. If I remember correctly, in the newscast, they talk about airplanes streaking off after they dropped bombs. And Israel is calling this whole thing Operation Rising Lion. It is the name of Israel's military attack on Iran in June 2025. Operation Rising Lion began with airstrikes on nuclear sites. Love this word in English, apparently. Apparently, it's used when something seems to be true, but you're not sure if it's true. Apparently, Israel used drones that were already inside Iran, very similar to something that Ukraine did when they invaded Russia with drones. They did it very secretly. If you would like to watch an English lesson about that, I will leave a link to it at the end of this English lesson. Also, if you are enjoying the way I teach, maybe you want to have a one-on-one conversation with me to help you improve your English. I know it's sometimes tough to find a speaking partner, so this summer I am offering private one-on-one conversations. And for the month of June, I am offering a 10% off coupon. Use 10 off at the checkout to get 10% off. Okay, now back to the English lesson.
It was an operation that involved not just an air campaign, but Israeli operatives apparently working on the ground in Iran. The targets, Iranian nuclear sites, scientists, and military leaders.
We targeted Iran's main enrichment facility in Natanz. We targeted Iran's leading nuclear scientists working on the Iranian bomb. We also struck at the heart of Iran's ballistic missile program.
An enrichment facility is a place where uranium is made stronger for use in energy, which is good, right? Or weapons. One major enrichment facility was damaged in the attack. I am also curious. Let me know in the comments, do you think Iran should have a nuclear weapon to protect itself? I mean, the country I live in, the United States, we have nuclear weapons to protect ourselves. Russia has the same. They talk about a couple different types of weapons in the newscast, and we will talk about all of them. But this first one is ballistic missiles. These are long-range weapons that fly through the air and explode on impact. Iran fired ballistic missiles in response to the Israeli attack.
Israel has already been fending off air attacks this morning. Posting on X, Iran's supreme leader threatened to retaliate. That Zionist regime, he wrote, should anticipate a severe punishment. By God's grace, the powerful arm of the Islamic Republic's armed forces won't let them go unpunished.
Well, I'd love to avoid the conflict.
Just yesterday, prior to the attacks, President Trump said he was trying to avoid this, hoping to continue nuclear talks with Iran this weekend.
Fending off is next in the picture. That man is fending off the lion with a chair. I'm not sure how that is going to work out for him. It might not last too long, but to fend off means to protect yourself by stopping an attack. The man was fending off the lion with a chair. If you have watched other English lessons on this channel, this might be review. Retaliate. Retaliate, it means to attack after being attacked. Israel promised to retaliate for the destruction of its facilities. Yeah, and don't be afraid to watch this English lesson again, maybe 3 times. It will really help you understand some of these difficult topics. Zionist. This is related to the belief that Jewish people should have their own country in Israel. I don't think I dare ask in the comments section if you think Israel should have its own country. Ooh, that could create quite a bit of controversy. Iran often refers to Israel as the Zionist enemy. Regime. This is never used in a good way. It's a government, usually one that is strict or controlling. Israel said the strikes were aimed at Iran's regime, not its people. And maybe pause the video if you need to think, but do you have any idea who that is in the picture? I will give you a hint. He was once a leader of a regime. So that man is Idi Amin. He was once a dictator in Uganda. Take a look at the map just in case you don't know where Uganda is. It's close to the middle of Africa, near the DRC in South Sudan. Idi Amin was a military leader who took control of Uganda in 1971 and led a violent regime where many people were killed or forced to leave the country. I could ask in the comments, but I'm afraid to. Do you think Israel is a regime? Many people around the world are not happy with Benjamin Netanyahu right now. Actually, they haven't been happy with him for a long time.
Posting on X, Iran's supreme leader threatened to retaliate. That Zionist regime, he wrote, should anticipate a severe punishment. By God's grace, the powerful arm of the Islamic Republic's armed forces won't let them go unpunished.
Well, I'd love to avoid the conflict.
Just yesterday, prior to the attacks, President Trump said he was trying to avoid this, hoping to continue nuclear talks with Iran this weekend. But he has also said repeatedly that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons, and these attacks could be a significant setback for the regime.
What about anticipate? Anticipate, that means to expect something to happen. And if you look at that picture, those two cats are anticipating that meal. They can't wait for it. I anticipate that I will get an A on the exam tomorrow. Unpunished. You may know this one, but I wanted to use this time to talk about un at the beginning of a word in English. It means not. So the definition for unpunished means without being punished. Israel said Iran would not go unpunished for building nuclear weapons. Nuclear. I get very lazy when I say nuclear sometimes. One of my favorite examples to use is some kid going into the kitchen and stealing cookies from the cookie jar. Well, I'm sure if his parents caught him doing this, he would be punished, but maybe he gets away with it. Maybe he will not be punished for stealing those cookies. I asked AI to make this image, and I'm not sure why they chose to put an arrow pointing to that milk. Prior. It's basically another way to say before. The official definition, before something happened. Prior to the attack, talks between Iran and the West had failed. And if you take a look at that picture there is a flight attendant giving safety instructions prior to takeoff. Nuclear. I've had to say that word quite a few times in this English lesson. It's discussions about stopping or limiting nuclear weapons. The nuclear talks with Iran were not successful. Yeah, I guess the people who were supposed to be talking about these nuclear weapons from Iran were killed in one of the attacks. You could definitely call that a setback. A setback is a problem that causes delay or failure. The attack was a major setback to Iran's nuclear program. And I'm not sure what is happening to this person in the picture. Maybe he is a doctor. Maybe he lost a patient. That would be a major setback, I'm sure. What about dismantle? It is a verb, and it looks like that man is dismantling that washer. And if you dismantle something, that means to take apart or destroy. We had to dismantle the trampoline after the party and return it to the store. Do you know what a trampoline is? It reminds me of one time we bought a trampoline for my son when he was really young, but it was not the best. It didn't work really well. It took us about 4 hours to set up the trampoline. That is review from the prior English lesson about that Indian airplane that crashed. Very sad. But after his party, we had to take it apart, or we had to dismantle it and bring it back to the store. We got him a new one.
Trying to really dismantle and rubbleize the key nuclear sites in Iran so that Iran can never get back to being as close as they were to a bomb before last night.
All right, now the president has posted about this on Truth Social, saying that Iran has another chance to come back to the negotiating table here. Back to you guys.
Netanyahu had said that they had enough uranium enrichment to build potentially 9 atom bombs, and other Israeli officials also saying that an October 7th attack, something similar was being planned.
That's right. One of the big concerns was obviously the development of their nuclear side of things, but the other had to do with these ballistic missiles, and that's one of the things that these airstrikes really went after, trying to go after Iran's ability to attack Israel either with conventional or potentially nuclear warheads.
Yeah, of course, all this happening overnight, so we'll watch for the world reaction, including what President Trump has to say later this morning.
This is a new word for me, but I do know the word rubble. We talked about it in the last English lesson, but to rubbleize means to reduce a building or structure to rubble, like broken pieces. Many of Iran's military buildings were rubbleized in the strike. We mentioned uranium before. Let's get the official definition. That is a heavy metal used for nuclear energy and bombs. Iran had been enriching uranium to high levels before the attack. So were they using that uranium for energy or for possible bombs? Potentially. Potentially, that means possibly, or it could happen. We could potentially lose power tonight because of the thunderstorms. And in that picture, there is the potential, that's the noun, there is the potential for somebody having serious injuries after that car accident. Atom bombs. I'm not a bomb expert. I know there are nuclear bombs, and sometimes they're called atom bombs, sometimes they're called hydrogen bombs. Either way, I know I don't want anyone to be harmed by these things. Powerful weapons made from nuclear energy. Israel said Iran had enough uranium to build several atom bombs. I think the newscast mentions 9 bombs. So the opposite of nuclear weapons are conventional weapons. We talked about ballistic missiles before. That is a type of conventional weapon. It just basically means not nuclear. Normal military weapons like guns and non-nuclear bombs. The airstrikes also hit storage sites for conventional weapons. And that is going to do it. Don't forget, I am offering private conversations this summer. Use 10 off at checkout for 10% off. And right below there, that is an English lesson about when Ukraine snuck in some drones. They snuck them into Russia. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.